Chapter 99, Tournament Preparations. Translator's Corner, Kanzaki Yoko Story. Last part, cast, 2 policemen. Walking through the park, 2 policemen on their break were discussing the mass homicide that occurred at a nearby hospital recently. The culprit is yet to be found. Fingerprints of one of the hospital's staff members were found on the gasoline canisters, and he is being questioned, but his alibi freed him of suspicion of being the primary perpetrator of the crime. However, he probably will serve a few years. But it's a real shame about the detective. One of the policemen told the other. Which part? The fact that he claimed to have spoken with a person who died last year, or that he believes that the murder and dissection of Mugachi Yujiro has something to do with this case? Clearly both. He claims that the deceased Kanzaki Yoko is the perpetrator of both of these incidents. I wonder if all detectives go crazy in the end. He sighed, and, feeling that the conversation was far too heavy, decided to lighten the mood. You're meeting your niece after this, right? How about buying a balloon for her from that clown over there? He said, pointing to a female clown selling balloons by the river. She could hardly be called a beauty, perhaps due to the clown paint obscuring her face, but she could still be called cute. Approaching her, the policeman purchased a balloon, and, charmed by her smile, asked, "May I hear your name?" The clown, mildly surprised, smiled what was perhaps either a melancholic or a benevolent smile, and replied, "Clown is the only name for me." Thank you for reading, and enjoying The Translator's Corner. If I have time, I'll write another short story. Hopefully, with a bit more hope this time around. Founding Demon Capital Arc. 099. Tournament Preparations. Myormals hurried back to his shop. He could have sent a butler ahead of him, but decided not to. Would he really wait for me? Slightly worried, he entered the shop. When he did, he saw that adorable girl, reclining on a couch. And, as he saw Myormals, he smiled widely. Yo. That was quick. A speech style that was completely at odds with her face, as he raised a hand in a greeting. That was, without a doubt, Master Rimuru. Having confirmed that, Myormals expressed his heartfelt happiness that Rimuru was still alive and well. The other attendants, seeing their master thus, did not react with any surprise and have been treating Rimuru with respect. Vertical bar. Certainly, that was the effect of having spent an hour here alone with him. After setting down the iced tea he was drinking, Rimuru went straight to the point. Well, what? I've got a job request, you see? I'm certain that Myormals will be able to handle it. I've got an event coming up and I want a producer for it. Can I leave it to you? With a wide smile that can only be described as representing all the wickedness of the entire human race, Rimuru asked. Myormals could not read what was on his mind, but was certain that it involved danger. Even so. What kind of event would Dana be talking about? Myormals, for some reason, wanted to hear more. Somehow, he's been entranced by this person. Without any thought to loss and profit, these kind of unnatural feelings filled him. Perhaps, he was now a failure as a merchant. But now that he has become a failure, isn't it the perfect time to serve this being? So he tried imagining what it would be like to serve Rimuru. The very thought filled him with boundless joy. Thus, he heard Rimuru's explanation. He disclosed a shocking proposal. Tempest will be holding a tournament soon, and he wanted to leave it in Myormals' hands. He had described it as amusement, but, in short, it really is just a spectacle for the masses. They will create a coliseum to hold 10,000 people to watch and cheer for the contestants. Average people also have the right to watch, perhaps with an entrance fee. It's fine, however, if the entrance is free. As long as Tempest's dining and lodging are properly advertised. More importantly, moving the 10,000 guests around. Though the highways have been prepared, there's a need to manage the carriage transportation and provisions. Moreover, managing the number of guests. Offering lodging. Just thinking about the wealth that will move here made his mouth water. Tempest's dining and lodging is beyond excellent, so accepting the guests will prove simple. The problem is the permanent stimulation of economy and maximizing the profit. That's the whole point behind this tournament. Too amusing. To have prepared such a detailed plan only to leave it in my Ormel's hands. This should be left to a pro, no? Don't tell me, my Ormels, you lack confidence? Ha, ha 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 ha. How cruel. Rimuru-sama is an evil person. Ha 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 ha. I am. But not as evil as you. The two laughed loudly. With a wicked smile on their faces. You do understand that enormous capital will be moving around here, right? Foo. Fret not, this is my Ormel's field of expertise. I will produce results Rimuru-sama will be completely satisfied with. Enormous capital will flow at this event. Just as Rimuru says. What a terrifying being. Just how far can he see? On that note, I may see another way to use the restorative medicine. It is possible to be restored as long as one is not dead, I believe. So perhaps we could sell it to the participants. And, the true goal is advertising, right? So that people visit Tempest many more times from now on, right? Based on that goal, my job would be as expected. I'm glad I decided to leave this to you, my Ormels. I don't mind if the tournament does not produce any profit. I want to come again. If people leave with that feeling, then we have succeeded. I'll leave the invitees to you. All right? They thus shook hands. A terrifying chill assaulted my Ormels as ideas poured into his head. There are countless ways to manage an event as a country. Just by allowing people to bet on the winner can produce enormous income. He finally realized the many ideas and the weight of responsibility that this request entailed. And when he did, a boundless excitement filled his body. He could finally do it. He could finally show him. He could finally be of use to Tempest. And then, Rimuru added. Oh, and later, if this goes over well, would you like to join us? Commerce Division Chief or Merchant Division Chief? Well, the name doesn't matter, but I want to have you assume that post. We're growing pretty big recently, so we need to take control of that sector. How about it? How about it? How about it? How about it? These words, as if playing the strings of his heart, reverberated again and again. With a big nod, he accepted. Of course he would. Rimuru was willing to invest in him to this extent. There was no room for failure. If he did well, he could join his most trusted circle. In all of my Ormel's days, more than any dream or hope he has had, he now felt like he has never felt before. This feeling was like sweet nectar that he swore to never let go of. Even after Rimuru left scheduling the next meeting, the excitement did not lessen. Things will get busy. First, declaring the intent to gather his estate. Should this event conclude successfully, no, he will make it successful, he has no plans to return to Brimond. So he thus declared. And asked. What will you do? If you like this mansion, I don't particularly care. And upon hearing these words, all of his attendants replied. Please permit us to journey with you. They said. At this point, nothing held him back. Even though he had received license from the country, my Ormels was a guild member. He has the freedom to move between countries. One should always be prepared to move. But letting go of this shop might prove disadvantageous in the future. So he decided to have a few people stay back in case Brimond were to flourish. Ordering his servants to pack, he returned to his store. And he called the head clerk into the office. Before the clerk could even take a seat. Yo, you've gotten pretty good recently, how about taking over the store? Straight to the point. Blinking a few times, the clerk tried to understand what he just heard. He is, in fact, a son of one of my Ormel's relatives, and was sent here to study. He is a bright kid that my Ormels took a liking to. But, in reality, he lost his original home due to failing horrible, and only became a clerk to have a place to stay. Yet there's no qualms about his work ethic. He's someone my Ormels could easily depend on. But, master, what could you possibly mean by that? Unable to believe what he had heard, he timidly asked. With a big nod. The thing is, I've been tasked with an important job. I'll be leaving the country, so I decided to leave the shop to you. Make the store a success and call your parents to visit one day. My Ormels said, patting the clerk on the back with an affectionate smile. In reality, he had only intended to loan the store to him. That is, he fully expected to be able to recover the price of the store. My Ormels the merchant was not a sweet individual. Moreover, if he can't make the payment, that just shows that he was a failure to begin with. He was motivated by his duty as teacher. Thank you, truly, thank you. Definitely. I will definitely repay your benevolence. Finally comprehending what was said, the clerk thanked my Ormels, ignoring his gratitude. Work hard. My Ormels said, nodding. Just in case, they set up a contract for exchange of commodities. There was no oversight on this end. And after again being thanked by the clerk, he announced the change in leadership to the rest of the store. And, compounding to their surprise, he added, on a 1 in a million chance that something happens, you are free to consult me. But, I'm sure you guys will be able to get settled with the new order right away. Just remember to steer clear of dubious deals with the nobles. Everyone nodded to his words. They have all taken my Ormel's teachings to heart, so no one would engage in dubious deals here. And then, would it be impermissible for us to follow you, master? Some among them said. These 5 individuals my Ormels saw great potential in. So he was greatly surprised. He never expected them to be willing to abandon their livelihood to follow him. Thus, he was troubled as to how to respond. But those who asked did not waver in the slightest. The ex-clerk smiled and said, My Ormels-sama, everyone here is your disciple. Please take these persons with you. However, without them, would you not be troubled? Ha ha ha, so you were worried about that. I, too, have taken to your teachings, you know. My Ormels nodded once to these reassuring words. Thinking about it, trusted people with whom he had worked on important duties are truly precious. So he decided to accept the proposal. Thus, after overseeing the preparations for the move, my Ormels set off towards Tempest. After parting with my Ormels, I sighed in relief. Thank goodness he accepted. Having a tournament is fine and all, but how should we take advantage of it? That was the thought that started this all. Even falling is not free. I ordered an urgent creation of the Colosseum. The plain on which we faced the knights is where we decided to build this grand structure. It's easy to access and otherwise convenient. We declared that the tournament will be held along with the Demon Lord proclamation ceremony. We also decided to allow any powerful being from the Jura Forest to participate. In short, we're also scouting for new recruits. Since we're becoming a legitimate state, it's probably a good idea to add more powerful beings to our ranks. Other demon lords scout for devil subordinates to increase their influence, but it's unclear whether said devils are truly strong. However, since they'll be fighting this time, we'll be able to tell their strength right away. On that note, there's a problem of too few participants and too many spectators. If we only display the power of my cabinet, the vagrant devils will probably be dissuaded from rampaging at will. Those fools who decide to cause mischief regardless will be erased. If possible, I'd rather we add them to our ranks before that happens. After all, they say the angels will come invading. Though that was my first time hearing that, I hardly see a reason to stop our progress. I desire a pleasant and comfortable life. Which is why it might be a good idea to further increase our fighting strength. So rather than targeting the famous clans, I would much rather gather strong individuals and confer a reward upon the winner. Monsters are hardly interested in coin, so I proclaimed that I will grant any reasonable wish. So hopefully a large number of participants will show. Otherwise, this would hardly be a show. To someone who enjoyed those end-of-the-year fighting shows on TV, this is ideal entertainment. But, there's the problem of managing capital. Viewing fee can be free as long as Tempest is properly advertised. When I thought so, I noticed that we were lacking in personnel. There's no monster who specializes in finances. While I could do it alone, it's just too damn troublesome. And then I remembered my Ormul's-kun. What a wonderful resource he is. I don't know why he got so excited, but he is even more eager than I am to put this plan into motion. Perhaps even holding it as an annual event. Moreover, he even thought of a plan to sell the medicine at the event. What a terrifying individual. In that case, rather than a quickly built arena, we should probably build something more grand. Slightly panicking, I contacted Gerudo. It seems that they were in the middle of laying the foundation, so they didn't mind having to expand the size of the building. Though I initially held against box seats, I guess those would be important. By the way, the cabinet unanimously declared secret training time and vanished. Only Ranga remains as always within my shadow. Now then, since I am in Bremen, I might as well greet Fuse. Opening the door to the Bremen's Freedom Association branch, I entered. And was met with a "Who's that?" gaze. Right, every time I came I would wear a mask, so they don't know it's me. Whatever. If he's not here, I'll just leave. With such a carefree attitude, I approached the receptionist. Yo. I'm Rimuru, would Fuse be around? Oh, here's my guild card. I said and pulled a card from my pocket, stomach. I could hear people ask that girl is an adventurer? But I paid them no mind. The receptionist lady seemed to have remembered me. Ah. Oh my, it has been a while. How have you been? Oh, quite fine. You also seem to be doing well. So, could I meet with him? Ah, yes. Please follow me. I was immediately led through. Behind me, I could hear, seriously? Who is that girl? And the like, but I should probably ignore those words. And as always, I was guided towards the same room via magic circles. Inside, Fuse was holding his head. Yo. I came to play. What's wrong? Something on your mind? Well, it's been peaceful, but then suddenly a demon lord appeared. Eh? Seriously? What a menace. Why are you so relaxed? No, the demon lord is right before me. So what should I do? Oh? Is that so? Then how about serving some tea? Cake might also be a good idea? Cake, huh? What the hell? Do you think I could acquire such a delicacy so easily? Seriously, is it alright for you to be so carefree even as a demon lord? While complaining, he poured some tea. Unlike how he seems, he's a really pleasant guy. Thanking him, I sipped the tea, and let him know the short version of the Walpurgis banquet incident. That there are 8 demon lords now called Octogram. And, most importantly, that Freedom Association Guild Master Kagurazuki Yuki is somehow connected with Chaos Lord Kazarim. Fuse muttered in disbelief. But without doubting my story, he started considering countermeasures. Rather, while doubting my words, I should say. If I'm wrong, great. If I'm right, then a plan of action is absolutely necessary. It's best to stay prudent. What a reliable fellow he is. On that note, I think it would be best to use this magic item that prevents mind control. We're also all using it. And, do not disclose this to anyone you don't trust and that has nothing to do with Yuki. Understood. That's only to be expected. I'll try to look for people who can dispel brainwashing and mind control skills. He's quick on the uptake. He's already way ahead of me. Call me if anything happens. I said, taking out a communication ball and 100 gold coins. Hey, Dana. What is this? communication device and necessary expenses. Enough? It will help. But to bring this much out, is it that serious? That it is. I don't think Ingrasa can be trusted at all by this point. Yuki has had 10 years to extend his network, you see? Fuse's expression got even more serious when I said so. And he began grumbling to himself. Seriously. Things were much more peaceful before you showed up. Isn't it great, you got a job. And a big one at that. Fuse held his hands up as if giving up. Make it a request, he said, with a face full of determination. It's tough to request of him to question his superiors. I do feel bad for him, so I decided to explain in greater detail. My real objective is the children. So I told him, if Yuki is suspicious, there's a need to save the kids. But if I handle this poorly, he'll learn that I am suspicious of him. So this must be done in complete secrecy. Preferably with a third party that has no relation whatsoever with me. Fuse nodded and began to think up the strategy. Anyways, we cannot rush this. Since he hasn't noticed yet, there's no need to take any serious action. We can take this slow, so I believe we should carefully proceed here. I have accepted the request. Leave it to me. Fuse nodded and made the promise. For the time being, he'll use trusted people to search for those afflicted by mind control. If possible, he'll secure the children. There's no choice but to trust him for now. I leave it to you. And nodding, we concluded by discussing the finer details. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 100, Underground Labyrinth. Alas, after struggle, I am finally done. Oh, how happy I am. I must admit that it was fun. The rhyme here sucks, which I do admit. But I finished this chapter. So to boast please do permit. Anyways, please do enjoy this, though it took a while. And let me sleep. Since I've got work left and it's quite a pile. Crappy poetry aside, I apologize for the delay. Tilde Clown. Founding Demon Capital Arc. 100. Underground Labyrinth. After finishing the meeting with Fuse, I headed back to Tempest. I can move to any previously visited location via spatial travel, you see. It does use up some magic energy, but my reserves are so vast that I don't even feel it. So it's a super useful skill that lets me transfer to places without any detriment. When I neared the city, Gerudo contacted me via telepathy. We seek your immediate guidance, Rimuru-sama. What could be wrong? With that thought, I transferred to Gerudo. In a leap completed in a single moment, I head towards Gerudo. It truly is a very useful skill. Not that I'm going to appear right by his side, rather I am going to materialize in the near vicinity. If necessary, I could appear exactly on a desired spot, but this time let's transfer a little further away. Well, in fact, since it's a place I've visited before, I don't actually need to focus on transferring to the individual. And at this point it's easier to move towards him by foot. Gerudo was at the tunnel that Veldor had blown up. Pieces of demon steel were spread across the landscape, barely obscuring the ruined tunnel. I had ordered it to be restored, yet no work seems to have been done. I wonder why? Gerudo seems to be arguing with somebody. I'm telling you, Tilda. We're now occupying these tunnels. Even if so you say, we have not recognized your claims. Please allow me to consult Rimuru-sama first. No way. Can't you see, we've abandoned the labyrinth? Are you seriously planning on making us homeless? No one is saying that. By the way, stop trying to sneak demon steel out of here. TCH. How sharp. Don't sweat the small things, or my Beretta will whack. Erasing my presence, I successfully captured Ray-Maurice. And looked her right in the face. No question about it, it's Ray-Maurice. What the hell are you doing? Why Yahoo! What's up, Rimuru? Averting her eyes, Raymaurice greeted me. Even without asking, I know exactly what she was planning on doing. She's planning on claiming the demon steel and connecting the tunnel into the labyrinth. She's said something about building an entrance around here before, after all. So, you were planning on building a labyrinth here and you were discovered by Gerudo? No, there's no way. I think. Maybe? In other words, I'm right. Seriously. Aha, ha. She tried laughing the matter off. Looking around, there's a clear need to reclaim the resources and repair the land, I thought. But, maybe it's a good idea to have her build the labyrinth here after all? I mean, think about my last conversation with my Ormals. We want people to continuously revisit Tempest. But, perhaps not every day, but at least every season. So, is there something we could do that would attract people that often? For example, how about we create a dungeon, labyrinth? This might be a good idea. I look at Raymaurice. Without a care, she's just smiling at me. She's a little. No, she's very unreliable, but maybe she'll manage. Steeling myself, I expressed my proposal. My proposal. It's very simple, really. I'll have Raymaurice create a labyrinth and act as its manager. And we'll thus have the labyrinth generate some profit. Raymaurice will live there, and I'll get some pocket change. Of course, this idea requires her complete support, but she doesn't seem opposed to it. In fact, when I disclose the plan. In other words, I can make a labyrinth here? Actually. Could this be a chance to finally dispel that horrid nickname, Neat? Opening her eyes wide, she exclaimed. Well, I did think of it more as a joke though. It is true that I can earn some money this way? Swallowing hard, she asked me with a serious expression. She's probably afraid that I'll change my mind. Though there's no way I would. Well, not like all my promises are enforceable, though. I'm serious. But, I wouldn't know how much profit we can make until we try it. Well, there will be related expenses, so how about 20% of the profits? How much would that be? Well, if 1,000 adventurers visit in a single day, you'd be getting 2 gold coins. Jet. SS such a FF fortune? Well, actual earnings might be higher or lower than predicted. And since you'd need to build a place to live anyways, you don't suffer as a result, right? She violently shook her head. In the first place, had she built the labyrinth anywhere she wanted, she would still have to maintain it. So there was nothing disagreeable about this. She hugged me tightly out of joy. Since both parties seem satisfied, this will become another project that I will oversee. Adding Gerudo to our discussion, we polish out the details. First, we have overnight plans to lay a road from the city here. It's a trip that wouldn't even take half a day. We had chosen this place as it was on the outer perimeter of the city. About 10 kilometers away, I'd like to say. Once the road is done, we also plan to build a stable nearby. We had wanted to lay rails to transport people and baggage from here. Since letting horses and magic beasts into the city would lead to new hygienic problems. Reclaiming the demon steel is necessary for that goal, but I can just prepare some more. Since it's relatively close to the city, an inn here would unlikely bring many customers. So, we decided to build a motel instead. But if we will build a labyrinth here, then an inn would be in order. If they wanted to truly relax, they could always come back to Tempest. It's a good idea to keep work housing and home separate. And if we build a labyrinth here we are bound to attract some adventurers. It might be a good idea to also service the carriages coming to and from the Dwarf Kingdom and the Farmer's Kingdom. Drawing up the plan, I have Gerudo confirm it. He finds it acceptable. Moreover, the site of our battle with the knights is only a few steps away. 2 kilometers towards the city, where a number of roads intersect, is the planned site of the arena. It's relatively close to the city, so we expect the guests to walk there. Unlike our world, people tend to walk here. It's unimaginable to not walk a round trip of less than 20 kilometers. They also follow the early to bed, early to rise policy. So if we hold the tournament from 10 o'clock 1500 hours, this should give them enough time to make the trip. As for the staff, we can probably have them stay at the inn. Having thus agreed with Ryudo, we moved on to discussing the arena blueprint. After talking to my Ormals, I finally envisioned how I wanted it to look. Normally, I would spend hours in front of my laptop creating the plan, but now I can do it by hand. Raphael really is useful at these minor things. Accepting my design with a no problem, Ryudo left. When I looked at Raymaurice, now even I will be making money, huh? Gone are the days when I was made fun of as the poverty demon lord. Is she tripping? She seems completely lost in her world. Well, I guess she'll be fine. She's been significantly ridiculed up until now. Though who has heard of a demon lord in want of money? TL note, in want of means to lack. Though more than money, not working is the problem, I believe. True, Raymaurice Labyrinth was rather devoid of people. She was probably really bored and really lonely. I really hope adventurers show up. For Raymaurice and my sake. Dragging Raymaurice back into reality, we go over the detail of the labyrinth. Raymaurice is showing a determined face, the likes that I never have seen from her before, and is ready to go. I had 5 questions for her. How many floors can be constructed underground? How many days would it take to finish? What about the monsters inside? Can interior layout be altered? Further, can treasure chests be set up? In case of death, could we set up a system where they are reborn on the surface? Is what I asked. Here's what she answered. There's no limit, but realistically, at most 100 floors. It's possible to finish in a day. Thanks to species skill labyrinth creation, it can be created in a single moment. The interior aside. Whatever we wish, since spirits inhabited the previous one, they did not spawn. But, if magic concentration falls, only weak monsters will spawn. It's possible. Actually, customizing the interior is one of the functions of her skills. It's also possible to create a rotation of floor patterns, but only one floor at a time. If not the structure but the interior, that can be changed relatively simply. It's possible. But, you would have to wear a special item created via labyrinth creation. Is what she said. Wonderful. It's wonderful, Raymaurice-kun. Really, like really? Am I really amazing? Yeah. Now our ambitions have overlapped. Really? I was just thinking the same thing. We nodded at each other. I'm looking forward to working with you, Raymaurice. Yeah, I'll be in your care. Joining a large organization is like riding a big ship. It's reassuring. Big ship, huh? Let's hope we're not the Titanic. Since our sizes are different, we couldn't really shake hands, but we were one in spirit. I decided to have Raymaurice take the demon steel scattered around. Since it seems that she will make something really useful. We continued to exchange ideas regarding the design and concept of the dungeon. While being very merry. Me and Raymaurice being merry and discussing the dungeon. To say the least, our conversation went into a weird direction and we drafted out a design of a super advanced dungeon. Next is production. As Raymaurice declared, it will easily be done by tomorrow. So promising to come visit, I returned to the city. I need to have Kurobi hand over all those test armors and weapons that won't be seeing the marketplace anytime soon. Is this fine, Rimuru-sama? These articles are imperfect and can hardly be used by the average person. Nah, it's fine. I'll leave these aside to receive the spirit's blessing and have them soak up some magic energy. They might become magic items, you see. Is that so? In that case, do as you see fit. He said and took out the products from the cellar. I accepted them and expressed my thanks. However, to think that he had so many trial products. At some point, he had added 100 items to this list. There are full sets here as well, and all of these items are far better than what you would find being sold in a store. But, as Kurobi mentioned, these are imperfect items to which the user could never adjust to. So these can hardly be called tools. But in exchange for sucking up magical energy and converting it into raw strength, the user can temporarily obtain unbelievable physical power. Well, it's not like you should only use it if you have a death wish, but only a fool would use an untested product. Not that I take responsibility for that, though. So what should I do about this product line? I'm actually planning on putting it into treasure chests inside the dungeon and having special monsters guard these. To think I would have a chance at a real-life dungeon creator. This is too exciting. Well, it is true that just auctioning these products off would bring a lot of gold. Actually, that might be the best option. But, that's no good. What's most important is the ongoing advertisement of Tempest. If they see the beauty of our city and feel its charm, surely they will come again. Honestly, when I told Raymaurice that she can create an entrance to her labyrinth, I originally intended it to be in the middle of the city. But, I soon realized the benefit of having a tavern town for adventurers' convenience. Equipment and the like should be bought up in the city. Just think about how much money will be spent. Even if we stock up ahead of time, we'll probably run out. With the money left over for maintenance and purchase of raw material, we can probably offer sales for return customers. That way, the adventurers will speak of us among themselves and Tempest will certainly gain fame. Moreover, it's probably a good idea to keep the citizens busy. The tournament will probably be held at most twice a year, but we'll certainly hold other events. Military drills, adventurer tests. So we'll definitely put all these buildings to use. And the dungeon will certainly draw even more attention. Thus, having assembled all these parts, I have finally decided to gain the one being necessary to make it all work out. Veldora. Veldora's in my room. He's grown very accustomed to it. Hey, Veldora, I've got a favor to ask of you. Can't you see that I'm busy? Yeah. You're reading manga. And clearly have nothing to do. I see. That's too bad. And, I was just about to offer something fun to do. If you're busy, it can't be helped. I guess I'll just ask Diablo. I said, and pretended to leave. Hey, wait up. I'm busy, but I'll listen to your request. Speak. Hook, line, and sinker. How easy to manipulate he is. It's as easy to manipulate this old geezer as taking a candy from a baby. But that aside. The thing is, we were thinking about building a dwelling for you. Raymaurice and I were talking about it, and she's currently building it. What did you say? Seriously? But, why did you call it a favor? Whether he's deeply interested or not, he has a serious look on his face. Seriously. Too easy. I told Veldora about the dungeon plan. So the thing is, we need a king to rule over the dungeon. Raymaurice will supervise it. And, on the 100th floor we'll create an entrance leading to the Spirit's Labyrinth. We need a strongest guardian to protect this gate. I see. And you want me to do it? Exactly. And while in the labyrinth, I want you to constantly flaunt your aura. Seriously? It's okay? It is. I nodded. Frankly, I don't care at all about the Guardian. What I want is Veldora's aura. If he releases it around here, it will so densely concentrate, that normal people won't be able to survive. But if he keeps it in too long, releasing it will create an explosion like last time. So it's probably not a good idea to keep it in that long. So there's a need to release it. Which means, that we needed to find a place for him to do so. The Cave of the Seal could not completely restrain all of Veldora's aura. That's why I had the dungeon be made 100 floors deep and once he freely release his aura. And its true purpose. Once the magic concentration increases, monsters will naturally spawn. As it trickles upwards, the upper floors will certainly be occupied by small fry with strong beams further in. Even the cave had A-ranked Tempest Serpents spawn. Just what kind of monster will he spawn now? I can't even begin to imagine it. Perhaps another intelligent slime will spawn among them. So Veldora releasing his aura will only benefit us. Killing two birds with one stone, essentially. And when I see adventurers. Ku-ah-ha-ha-ha, you have done well coming this far. Let me welcome you, insects. Or something like. Ku-ah-ha-ha-ha, you can't run away from me. Didn't you know? You can't run away from the storm dragon. And fight them, right? Veldora said. He's completely into it by now. He didn't seem too into it in the beginning, though. I nodded. Moreover, it would also be possible to face entire units of adventurers. It's like a real simulation game, you see. How about it? Doesn't it sound fun? Veldora stood up, and put the manga in his pocket. And facing me. As expected of you, Rimuru. I always knew you could do great things. He said, and shook my hand. Thank God he's an idiot. And thus, I have, with great difficulty, recruited Veldora. The next day, Veldora and I went to see Raymaurice. As she promised, the labyrinth was completed. Yo, Raymaurice, you doing good? Ah, master. It has been a while. I am in perfect health. These two are friendly as always. Raymaurice was already sitting on Veldora's shoulder by the time they began the exchange. And after exchanging greetings, we got right into the explanation. As I had wanted, the labyrinth was created via a number of blocks. That was, once every few days we can change its layout. Every 10 floors we have set up save points. Upon reaching this point, the next time you enter you can continue from where you left off. To that end, we had decided to grant licenses to adventurers to use magic teleportation circles. Selling maps is probably too evil. It'll also be a pain to make new ones every day. And let's not forget about the most important item. The charm made by Raymaurice's labyrinth creation. It will only work once. Any death that occurred in the labyrinth will be negated, and the user will be returned to the surface. It will activate 10 seconds after death has been confirmed. There's also an emergency escape item that returns the user to the surface. These safeguards we plan to sell at the entrance. Whether they buy these or not is their choice. But if you don't buy it and die, you only have yourself to blame. I, personally, would definitely buy it. As for the price, we can decide that later. For now, all done. Hopefully this will all end as well as we want it to. There are still many things left to implement, but that's for later. We exchanged glances, and laughed like the villains we are. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible.